Do you know what your story is? Like, if you had to pitch yourself to somebody as an ideal candidate for an opportunity, do you know what you would say? How would you sum up your entire life in maybe 400 words? And what were the important parts that you would leave out? I was reading a New York Times article about how Ivy League colleges in the West today require students to be brands, to have one compelling story about themselves that they tell, and that's how they decide who gets selected and who doesn't. And as I kept thinking about it, I wondered why we love putting people into boxes. Not just others, but ourselves too. Cricketer, journalist, artist, scholar. We have all these names and we have all these brands that we align people with, most often their profession. But in our eyes, that's all they are. And everything in our life, then we curate consistently to be able to stick to that brand image. So a cricketer can never be a reader, a journalist can never play piano well. Why? Why do we think that way? Why do we have that one image aligned with the person, that story that they tell of themselves? That's not all they are. They can be more. You can be more. Are we more? Because most of the times we see ourselves sticking to that one story that we have found in our lives and then building on it, building on it, building on it, forgetting to explore other parts of our lives that may not necessarily align with that story. You can have more than one story. As I think about it, I think about a book I once read as a teenager, and it made me feel things that I wasn't ready for at that point. It was The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. And she talks about a fig tree and how all the possibilities of everything she could be were like figs on that tree. Every time she waited and she took an opportunity, the others were falling apart, the others were fading, the figs were falling, the figs were drying out, and she just had to choose. And that decision paralysis is something we have felt so often in our lives, right? When we have to decide, do I want to be an entrepreneur? Do I want to take a 9 to 5? Do I want to hustle? What do I need to do? What do I want to do? What is the right choice? That decision paralysis, because we want to be more than one thing. Why should we be defined by just one thing then? If you're a journalist, you talk most of the times about the stories, about the travel, about the writing. You don't tell people why you never learned how to ride a bike, why you don't know how to swim, about all the things that you could have been but didn't become, because it doesn't fit in well with your story. And that made me think there are so many opportunities in life that people let go of, so many things that people don't end up exploring just because they feel like it doesn't fit well with their story. So take this as your sign today, because it doesn't matter what Ivy League colleges want, it doesn't matter how you choose to define yourself. To be able to live life to the fullest, you still should explore everything that you want to. Still should try and take that cooking class if that's what you're intrigued about. You still should try doing things and posting things even that don't align well with your brand image, just because it's also a part of who you are. And a story can have multiple dimensions. People can have more than one story.